Black people are lucky to be Americans. If it weren't for white people having slaves back in the day, there would be no black people in America.
And white people should be lucky that the Spaniards gave you boats so you can escape the treacherous brutality of King James. You know, he was burning white people at the stake for being pagans. You should also thank, most importantly, the indigenous people of North America for teaching you how to live off the land, because you could have died your first winter. In my humblest opinion, the indigenous people should have just put arrows in every last one of you. But that's just me. However, it will not take away from white people being thankful that the indigenous people taught you how to live off the land to survive your first winter. With that being said, this concludes the lecture, and everyone enjoy your wonderful Friday.
Back in the day,
I wasn't going to let you finish, but we wouldn't have genocide. I've heard enough. If it wasn't for white people, you wouldn't have the Holocaust. If it wasn't for white people, you wouldn't have colonization. Or if it wasn't for white people, we wouldn't have disease and plagues. If it wasn't for white people, we wouldn't have hate crimes. If it wasn't for white people, we wouldn't have a corrupt system. If it wasn't for white people, we wouldn't have the Triple K posing as polices and peace officers. If it wasn't for white people, we wouldn't have the government shut down. Wars, pollution. The list goes on. But the last thing you did for us was bring us to America. We was already here. We already opened our eyes. You should open yours. We know that y'all got us from here, shipped us to the sugar plantations, took us to Paris, France, Europe, Africa, and picked us up where you dropped us off at. So, if it wasn't for white people stealing, everything that we do, mimic it, rewriting history, rewriting biblical scriptures, that is all about my people, we wouldn't be in this mess at all. You should own what you have created, right? You know what they say, though, misery loves company. So for my people, dodge the hijack. Peace, power, and protection.
No, I can't do it for 1 minute. You want to feel the weight of the shit? Oh my God. You feel the weight of the shit? God.
This is what they want you to forget.
From the 16th to the 19th centuries, 10 to 12 million slaves were transported from Africa to the Americas as part of the transatlantic slave trade. These poor souls were torn from their homes, bought and sold as slaves by other human beings. Crammed into overcrowded slave ships and treated worse than animals, the slaves endured unimaginably horrifying conditions on the 21 to 90-day voyage to the New World. Ripped away from their families and brought on board ships, they were stripped, chained by ankle irons, branded with a hot iron, and sent below deck. They were stacked side by side in a slave deck often just a few feet high. Slaves were forced to live in horribly tight and unsanitary conditions. Many slaves died due to suffocation, malnutrition, and disease. The torture and murder of the slaves by the crew was also common. Slaves that fell ill or were injured were often thrown overboard by the ship's captain. In such nightmarish conditions, suicide was common, and the filth, fear, and closeness drove many to madness. The death toll on these slave ships was so high that the Portuguese called them floating tombs. When the slaves arrived at the New World, they were exchanged for sugar or tobacco and bought by white masters who forced them to work on their plantations. From sunrise to sundown, the slaves toiled in the fields beneath the scorching southern sun. As soon as it was light, they were out in the fields, plowing, hoeing, or harvesting cotton, depending on the time of year. They weren't allowed to stop until noon, when they were permitted a short 10 to 15-minute break. Then it was immediately back to their hard labor, and if a slave's master caught them slacking, they would whip them as punishment. They worked all day until it was too dark to see, and didn't dare stop even for dinner, until the overseer said that their day's work was done. But even at dark, their work wasn't over. The slaves still had chores like chopping wood and feeding animals. They worked by candlelight, and when at last they were done, they fell into bed exhausted for a short sleep before rising and beginning it all again the next day.
Should black people be thankful that we were enslaved in this country for 400 years? I mean, after all, we're not in Africa, so we're here in the United States. That is what one white evangelical pastor in Texas is saying, that black people should stop whining and complaining and just be thankful. Your reparations is that you are here and not in Africa, walking around barefoot in a grass skirt, living in a hut. I thank you, black people, would do just fine, and you're welcome. This is literally what a white evangelical pastor said. But there's so many things that is wrong with that statement. It is born clearly out of ignorance and out of some racist mindset. But let's unpack it for a moment, because it's troublesome, it's problematic on many levels. But you know, the reality is that there are a lot of people, a lot of white people who actually think that way, but they will never be so bodacious and audacious as to say it to a black person, let alone an entire group of black people. But what's wrong with that?
When I was in Nigeria, I did not know of the African-American story until I got to America and found out.
That's true.
Right? I did not know anything about slavery.
Credit to all creators whose clip I used in this episode, and I really appreciate the Black Americans that responded to him. I'm still looking for the guy's account, because this person, I'm still looking for this video, the full clip of the video, but I can't lay my hands on it. I don't know if he has deleted the video, or I don't just know. But if any of you see this video, please kindly let me know. Tag the account in the comment section. I want you to tag that account in the comment section, because I really want to check the full video out. Because the guts, the audacity, the effrontery he used and said this, it's really getting me insane. How will you say that? And Black Americans and Africans are here talking at each other. Black Americans will say African sold us. We need reparation. Yes, Black Americans need reparation. But the people that started slavery are out there. They are out there chilling, enjoying, living their best life. Nothing, no, the two parties are not tackling them. The two parties are even friends with them, are not even mad at them at all. They are not mad at them for what they did. And this guy have the guts and the temerity to make a video and even post it online, saying that Black Americans should be grateful for slave trade. In this 21st century, somebody still thinks so absurd like this. In this century, somebody still figure things out like this. We are trying to make the world a better place. We are creating awareness. And this is how it is. To be honest with you, even most Africans don't know. Me, somebody like me, I don't know about the transatlantic slave trade. Research, history was what made me to understand. And I think that's the issue most Africans have back then. Because they feel that most Africans will go to American and all of a sudden they will denounce African. That's the mindset of most Africans then. And that's why they started tackling Black American, thinking that they are tackling their own Africans, without not knowing that these people see this is their history. Most Africans don't know. My grandfather didn't tell me, my mother didn't tell me, I didn't meet my great-grandfather. No, there was no explanation concerning slave trade to us. History, research, reading history book, not just recent history book, because there was a history book that I read that said a total opposite of what really happened. And I'm sure it's a white man that wrote that. Yes, it's a white man that wrote the book. So when you're even researching, I know that there are white people that were also among the slave trade. Yes, I'm not disputing that. There are white people from African, they were also among the slave trade. But this nigga, this guy, to say this is a whole lot to contend with. To be honest, I want to hear your thoughts and perspective concerning this, because I can't believe that till now, someone still have this type of mindset. And I pray that they are not trying to bring slavery back, because Africans will do a lot of things. If something like this happen again, if they still want to use blacks for slave trade, a lot of things will happen. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think what this guy said is right. If you feel is right, drop it in the comment section. If you feel is not right, drop it in the comment section. Credit to all creators whose clip are featured in this episode. Thank you guys for always commenting, subscribing, sharing, and always making sure that this account grows. And I also want to appreciate all my Black Americans friends, both in my DM, WhatsApp, and everywhere. I love you guys all, and I can't wait to see you guys in Africa soon, because Africa has a lot for you. I know immigrants in America started this, but people in Africa, no, they don't do this. They don't think like this. They don't. Africa has a beautiful place you need to explore. Most white people are here. Not most. There is no African country you will go, you will not see a white man. Yes, I want to tell you this for free. There is no African country. Name the African country: Nigeria, Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, Ethiopia. Name it. Name the African country. You must see a white man. And when they go back to America, they will brainwash Black Americans that Africans don't like you, Africans don't do this, Africans don't do that. Don't listen to them. We're in 21st century. This is an era where everything is modernized. We need to think straight. We need to understand ourselves. We need to think like an adult and not the other way around. We need to know what is right and what is just. You need to go out there, research for yourself, check things for yourself. Don't believe anything you see online. Don't believe it. Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking around. And I pray this video won't get me pissed. Yeah. No. And I really need a respectful comment in the comment section. Thank you, everyone. See you in my next episode.